Wednesday washout. Long weekend's got the best of me.
Yeah, look, well, the long weekend it'll take the best of soldiers. The greatest, the strongest, the most resilient.
It always fucking wins. I've never defeated the long weekend. The long weekend's only ever defeated me. And it happened again.
Honestly, forget the Vietnam War.
Sure.
Do you reckon the soldiers could survive a long weekend?
Mate. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Chuck them in long weekend, see what happens.
Yeah, baby. Marshall gets away. Marshall's still going. Marshall's got Richards coming up outside. Now inside.
All right, what's up, nerds? Welcome back to the Barflies podcast, episode 54.
Yep.
Today, October the 5th.
That's it.
2022.
Correct mundo.
I'm not going to say the year's skipping away, but, the silly season's upon us.
This year has come at some serious fucking pace. I'm not gonna lie. Serious pace.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't it I swear it was April or March, not that long ago.
I know. It's bizarre. It is bizarre.
My ability to tell when events happened has gone out the window this year. I think because there's been no lockdown, so I think this is how fast when lockdown happened, it felt a bit slow. But now that it's not like that and life is back to normal, mate, it's going quick.
How awesome is normal life?
Oh, it absolutely rips.
I
was thinking about lockdown yesterday. I was at Freshie Pool for a quick dip. It's where I usually just go for a little dipperoonie, sit on the concrete there in the sun. And I was thinking about lockdown because that was somewhere where I would go a lot during lockdown, just like get out the house, go for a swim, eat, like just do it, just kind of, I don't know, soak up some time.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking that the dynamics of lockdown and the pros and cons. And I was thinking about the pros and cons now, and I'm like, fuck. For all like the good bits of lockdown, like even like the best parts of lockdown are nowhere near as good as like the average parts of just normal life.
Yeah, totally.
In the element of like having freedom.
The best part of lockdown was not having to go to work, I suppose.
And like, I mean, it was kind of nice to an extent spending time with your family, but then it would like ebb and flows of, too much time and, tensions rise.
It's a fine balance.
Tensions rise.
I used to, it's like my way of like, not only when we were getting out, but just to get out of the house sometimes, I would go to like this chicken shop in Newport and they have like this chicken burger with a hash brown on it. So I'd like go and get this chicken burger with a hash brown on it and just like sit at the beach by myself.
Yeah.
Just to like decompress.
Get out. Yeah.
Just to decompress.
Yeah.
Because, it's all well and good going for like, you'd go for walks with your friends and stuff.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just needed like some space and like oftentimes that space isn't afforded at home.
No.
In a sense.
Like everyone would be home.
Everyone's always home. So just like it builds up and you needed to step out for a bit sometimes.
Well, when ours was on, I swear everyone would like be working, or like my brother would be like doing his design stuff in the garage, and like mum would be at work most days, and like Ailey would just kind of be in her room floating around the house. So I pretty much had like pretty good rule of the roost. So it'd be all right. I'd be doing uni, MBA on, not bad, like in the living room.
Yeah.
Kind of had like the big area of the house. But yeah, lockdown, mate. So scared.
I remember hating the weekends in lockdown.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of like a constant reminder that like we are in fact locked down.
And like Zoom beer. Remember like Zoom beers, Zoom
yuck, dude. That sucked. That fucking sucked.
Like, but that was a good time.
I hate it. I didn't like it at all.
No. But like that was the best you'd get.
That was the best you could do.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
Yeah,
over.
That's over. Thank
Back
God.
back to the October long weekend. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong here, with the forthcoming of daylight savings and, the finale of the rugby league season, in conjunction with a 3-day, length of time penciled in for debauchery
for ripping.
and silliness.
Yeah.
Does that mark the beginning of,
Well, summer
of
start-
silly season?
Summer and silly season starts in my eyes when when daylight savings begins.
Yeah.
It's summer now, in my opinion.
I agree. I went to the beach. I walked outside yesterday. It was so hot. I went to the beach.
Yep.
It was scat though because it's school holidays and I forgot.
And that was busy.
It was so busy. I was like, why? I regret doing this.
Yeah, it wasn't too busy on the beaches, but I don't know, where'd you go? Where do you even go if you go to the beach?
There's like 4 beaches that are like near here, I suppose, that people go to. And then it goes down towards like Maroubra, but it's like Coogee, Clovelly, Gordons Bay.
What one's the nicest one? I've actually never went to a beach on this side of the bridge.
You're not missing much. Yeah, right. One of my co-workers the other day said to me, in summer he'll often always make the effort to go to the northern beaches because the beaches are so much better than the city beaches.
Really?
And I was like, too right.
They are, yeah. I went to Bondi once and I was not impressed. Actually, I went to Bondi. I didn't go for a swim. I was there with my family. We just went, I think. And I was not that impressed.
No.
I wasn't like,
No.
I was like, this seems pretty overrated. And like, I feel like it would just be packed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I went to Coogee yesterday.
Yeah?
Yeah, no good.
No.
No good. Seaweedy.
What's the determinable, is that a word? Determinable?
I think so.
Yeah, difference between the two areas, beach-wise.
The beaches are a lot smaller
Right.
in the city. Like they've got a start and a finish point. There are a lot of them are like Freshie. Now Freshie's
Yeah.
really small.
Yeah.
And as a result, often ends up so packed. Whereas like you can go to Narrabeen and there's like 7 sets of, not 7, that's Mayo, but like 4 sets of flags
Yeah,
down
it's
the entire
massive.
beach.
Well, it's like...
It's kilometres long.
Yeah, it's like
4 or
probably
5 Ks.
Yeah.
So that's the most obvious like factor. And there's just like the beaches feel a lot more like suburban-y
Where?
on the northern
Right.
beaches.
Bit more of a vibe to them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the city beaches have a bit more of like a I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. Almost like a bit more of a, I want to say Gold Coast vibe, but that's not true. It's just like, I don't know, it just backs onto a bunch of cafes and stuff. I guess you could say that about some beaches as well, but I'm dribbling. It's hard to vocalize.
It's a vibe thing.
It's a vibe thing.
It's a vibe
Thank you for jumping in.
It's a vibe thing.
Save me, please.
It's just a vibe thing.
It's hard to vocalize the differences.
Yeah, right.
I would just say that the city beaches are slightly more scout.
Okay, good description.
I went to Gordons Bay the other day with Jared and Delo, and it was awesome. Like, it's like this tiny little beach. It's maybe like 50 meters long.
Yeah.
Like, it's tiny. It's a little bay. But there's a bunch of rocks where you can all...
kind of like Shelley.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. But there's heaps of rocks where you can sit and then you can jump off the rocks and swim out, and it was super clear. It was awesome.
That would be mad.
And there was no one around because it was Friday.
Oh, let's go.
Where are we at here?
I don't know.
Sunday, to mark the start of daylight savings and silly season, we were down at the Bolo.
Marrickville Bolo. Never been before. Great chicken snitty. Everyone I suggest check it out. Was delicious.
Snitty was good.
Yeah. I don't know whether I was just very hungry from the day before or whatnot, but it slapped. Marrickville Bolo, great location.
Yeah.
Yeah, never been there before. Watched the grand final there. For the big man Jared Trivis' birthday.
Yeah.
Great occasion.
It was a lovely day. The sun was out. That was the main thing. I think the meteorologists last week,
Got it all wrong.
they got it all. They got it wrong all week.
They got it wrong.
It was like, it's going to rain tomorrow. Didn't rain. It's going to rain tomorrow.
Well, it's
Didn't
all
rain.
come today.
It's come. It's finally come.
Did you bowl much?
No,
No.
I didn't bowl much. I bowled a couple lengths, maybe up and back twice.
How'd you go?
Not bad. I consider myself an okay bowler.
Right. Okay.
You?
Well, I bowled only one ball the whole day, and it was when I got there. And someone went, "Oh, Xander, have a go." I said, "Sure." Stepped up, bit of analysis, taking it in for a minute, reading the green and whatnot. Just rolled one ball, about 10 centimeters away from the white, and I just walked off. I said, "That's me. I'm not playing anymore today." And I just walked off to the other side of the green, to say good day to a few people.
Yeah.
I thought, why ruin something so perfect?
We were just discussing a couple of weeks ago about players playing on too long in their careers.
That's it.
You never want to do that.
I didn't want to. I just wanted that. That moment was enough for me, enough glory. Usually, which is strange because I am not very good at quitting while I'm ahead. It is not a skill of mine. So I was happy with myself.
Well, I'm proud
for
of you,
that
mate.
fact as well.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I got a habit of taking it too far.
Would you call yourself the Cameron Smith of the Lord Bowls?
I'd say I'm more of like the Vanilla Ice of lawn bowls, just a one-hit wonder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gautier spec.
Yeah, bit of Ice baby.
People. Oh, okay. Sorry. I was like, Gautier didn't sing that.
No,
People-
it's the remix, Gautier remix with Vanilla Ice. It's heaps good.
Dude, Gautier actually has another really good song called Heart's a Mess that no one fucking seems to know about. And every time people go, "Oh, one-hit wonders," yeah, Gautier.
Yeah, I guess
like-
he's just somebody we used to know.
That was really bad. I hated that.
Come on!
Yuck, dude.
Yes.
That's like a meme your mum would share on Facebook.
Yeah, that's 10 in the bin for me.
is 10.
That was pretty fucking bad.
Not my mum. A mum.
Yeah,
Shout out, Di.
yeah, that was bad for me. But yeah, long weekend was great. Well, not you, but you're aware of a brush with Lane that occurred at the Bolo.
Yeah, Aaron Chen of Pretty Funny fame was at the Bolo.
Yeah.
And EJ and Chelsea, friends of ours, went up to him to ask for a photo. And he just said, nah.
That's a bit much, I reckon.
I see, at first, when they told me that, I was like, oh, lol, that's pretty funny. Like, fair enough. He didn't
Yeah.
really want to take a photo. But I was thinking about it last night, and I was like, I was kind of watching him throughout the day. No one was really going up to him and talking to him outside of his own friends. It's not like he was being bombarded with like requests or like attention.
Yeah.
Really, he was probably getting looks all day, as I imagine he would. He's quite a what's the word? Like he stands out.
Character.
He's quite the character. And I was like, dude, surely it's not that hard to just go
Yeah.
for a photo.
Nah. I suppose when you're a really big celebrity on Have You Been Paying Attention, you kind of can afford the luxury of like doing that on like what, the third or fourth biggest station in Australia, Channel 10.
Yeah, look, I'm not trying
When
to...
you're a bit of a star like that, I mean, like, you know, you don't really need your fans anymore. You know?
I'm like not trying to slander Aaron Chen. I really like the guy.
I am.
Yeah, I know you are. But I just want to backtrack here because I'm not trying to slander this bloke because I really like him and I really like his comedy.
Yeah.
But I was just like, come on, dude. Surely you can just like...
Take one fucking photo.
Because if that was me and he said no, I'd have been like, oh, really?
Yeah.
I actually would have been kind of sad because I really like him.
Yeah. Thanks.
So I'm glad I didn't ask.
Sorry for bothering you, superstar.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like-
Yeah, I don't mind Aaron Chen. I think he's kind of funny, but like I don't know. I just like don't like it when like celebrities and shit do that. It's like, how hard is it to take a photo?
Yeah.
Like don't try and become well known if you're gonna do that stuff.
Look, what Xander and I are saying is come and ask us for photos.
Yeah, exactly. I've always had a thing about that. Like when like I've heard like celebrities like that. I'm like, such a dick move.
Yeah.
Such a dick move.
Yeah.
Like anyway,
It's not hard to be a good bloke, is it?
no, it's not. But
And so many celebrities probably are really good people. It's just
There's probably
the
some
few
that
that
aren't,
say no stand out.
yeah, but some of them I reckon would be fucking scumbags too. Like
Oh, totally.
there'd be some real like just crazy ones.
Have you heard about Jared and C-Trav and Ryan's
the guy
story from The Strokes?
Yeah. Where they saw him in Seville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say it quickly. Friends of the show ran into Julian Casablancas of The Strokes lead singer fame.
Yeah.
And they like saw him in a pub after a gig or something.
Was it a park? I thought it was a park.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it was
public.
no, it was
I
a
think it was a
park.
pub because they were standing around like looking at him and like waiting to see if he'd want a ciggy.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it was a pub. reach out if you're listening and
Yeah.
you were there.
Yeah.
But I think they eventually went up and like, and Ryan was like, "Oh, hey man, like we've come all the way from Australia, like just to watch you guys play. Like we really love your music." And I think Julian, and then Ryan like reached out to like shake his hand, and Julian just went like, "Yeah, cool," and just like shook his hand. And then like Jared said he shook his hand as well, and he like almost looked like offended that he had to shake his hand. It's like,
Far out. Did they get a photo with him?
No, I don't think so. I think after the handshake, they were kind of like, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I think actually this is where my thing with this started because I remember talking. I literally had like the biggest argument with Jared about this, like massive argument about like that idea that just because they're famous doesn't mean they should like appreciate their fans and whatnot.
Yeah. What was the argument?
That was pretty much, and I was saying that they should, and he was saying that they don't have to.
Yeah, I asked Jared about that, and he was like, "Oh, I don't really care." He's like, "I knew he was like that, so I'm not really like bothered by it."
Yeah, right. I don't know. Just my opinion.
Yeah, and it's an interesting one, isn't it? I'm with you. I feel like, how hard is it?
Yeah.
It's different if you're Julia Casablancas, like you're like one of the biggest rock stars in the world.
But if you're Aaron Chan, it's a bit different.
Yeah, like at Marrickville Bolo.
Yeah.
It's like kids his age coming up and asking, you know, it's
Yeah.
like they're just
Take the peak. We had like this is brush with lame at a bolo, but cricket grand final. We are having celebrations out 2 years ago after we won at Hubbard Bolo. Dale Cherry Evans was there, and we were singing our like team song on the big table outside, and he was like loving it. Like he was like kind of clapping and looking, and was like kind of came and was like, "Oh boys, well, did you win today?" And we were like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, congratulations."
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and then like took a couple photos.
Awesome.
And then I kind of felt bad for him because he'd done that and it was all good. And then there was this one bloke who's like a fucking mad, I'm pretty sure he's like a mad alco, just like who hangs around the bolo, who wasn't necessarily with us and just started like chewing his ear off.
Oh,
Yeah.
you hate to see it. You honestly hate to see it.
You just hate to see it.
Dude, that brings me to a good point, actually. I've got it written here. I've got part of it written here at the bottom.
Go for it.
So this dribbler last night comes into work. He starts explaining to me, you know, first night back in the pub in 2 years.
Right.
I assumed because of COVID he had health issues or something along the lines that prevented him from coming out to the pub, considering he lived 1 block away.
Righto.
He starts out, he's a pretty nice guy, and he's drinking double voddy tonics.
Yep.
And after 2 doubles, he was chewing the ear off of anyone inside.
Fuck.
It started with me. He started to move around. Yada, yada, yada.
Work?
At work. While he's talking to me, so first off, he goes up and starts bothering like this young couple
Right.
who like looked like they were they were in the initial phases of dating.
Right,
Like that was
okay.
kind of the vibe I was getting, like a first 3 date kind of, and you can kind of pick first dates when they come in.
You can.
And it felt like a newish date.
You know, they're sussing each other out at this point.
Yeah. And this guy's going over and chewing their fucking ear off. And you're like, as a bartender, it's not really your responsibility, but it also kind of is.
If he's being annoying.
He's being annoying. He's bothering patrons that have come in here to enjoy their night. And
Yeah.
you've got some dribbler who's a regular, which I'm assuming he was/will again become, chewing their ear off. You're like, mate, can you just
Leave him alone.
leave him alone? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Anyway, this same guy comes back up to me. How's this for one of the more bizarre lookalikes? He goes, "You look like Kevin Proctor
No.
from the Titans."
No. Should have cut him off. He must have been fucked to say
I think
that.
because of like
Just that.
the straight hair across the.
But he doesn't.
Across the
I'm pretty sure
fringe.
Kevin Proctor has curls.
Yeah, he has curly hair, but he just has like the straight fringe across
like
his eyebrows.
It's like the
Look,
same.
it's a stretch. I'm with you here.
That's like the biggest stretch I've ever seen. That is one of the strangest ones I've ever heard someone say.
Yeah, he's like, "Have you ever got that before?" I was like, "Mate, believe it or not, I haven't got Kevin Proctor
No,
before."
no one has ever called me a 6'4" footy player before. No, funnily enough, I've never had that.
I know that might be hard to believe. I know it might.
I know, but I've never been called that before. Fuck, that is rogue.
It was very bizarre.
That is bizarre.
But that's the thing. He was quite a nice guy up until he started, and he was still probably being nice to this young couple. But
I got this kind of bit cooked, like she was a bit cooked lady, came into our work, and I don't know, I don't know whether she was like drunk or she was a bit kind of, I don't know what was going on with her.
Yeah.
But I was turning on a heater at my work and she comes up and she goes, "Oh God, you're a beautiful boy." I was like, "Oh, thanks." And she goes, "You look like Tom Cruise." I was like, "Oh, yeah, thanks." Have you heard that before? Not really, but I'll take it. Thanks.
I'll take it.
Thanks.
Like
so.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah. So that's probably the weirdest lookalike I've ever gotten. But that was like not even close.
You would have hated that.
Yeah, look, it was like 7:30 in the morning. It was a good confidence booster. But like, you know, it was weird.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It was out of the blue.
What one's more bizarre? You looking like Tom Cruise or me looking like
Kevin Proctor is weirder. That's so much more strange. That's so much.
That's more far-fetched.
That's so much more rogue, I reckon. Just for the fact that like Tom Cruise, you know, it's like he's
a white dude with brown hair.
yeah, and Kevin Proctor's like
A Maori dude with curly black hair.
exactly, and he's like massive.
Yeah.
That'd be that. Yeah, that's rogue ass.
Anyway, do you actually want to tell me what happened at the races on the weekend? Because you kind of told me while we were watching the grand final and I was half cut. But
yeah. Oh, so what happened was, very turbulent 24 hours between going to the races and going to Marrickville Bolo. Pretty much what happened was I didn't eat anything in the morning. I just had a banana. Got to the Hilton at like 10:30. Started having beers. Pretty much continued drinking. Got to the races, and as some people may know, you get those like $50 bottles of Shandon, and it's just better value than buying beers all day.
$50?
Yeah. Yeah.
$50, dude.
Yeah. So me and Dan, friend of the show, going round for round on them, and I got sloshed pretty quick. You know, act shocked. And like at one point, I think I said I was going to go get another bottle, and then I just ended up knowing no, because we were in the members bit. I don't know how we G'd that up, but we were in the members bit. But there's like all these levels. There's heaps of levels and like all these different rooms and segments and whatnot. And I was walking round and I was just like sloshed, and I was like, where the fuck am I? And I'm like on my phone going like, where are you? And they're going, this level. And I'm like, got no idea where I am. Like, I don't know how to get kicked out. I like obviously had no idea where I was.
Yeah. And you're like sloshed as trying to comprehend these messages.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. And I literally, like, I reckon I was lost for about 2 hours. I didn't put any bets on. I was just like trying to find people.
Just try to keep it together.
Yeah, just trying to keep it together. And I was like walking around just dribbling. I would have been so annoying, like biggest pest. I was walking around just talking to random people. Pretty sure I got a job offer at one point. Like, I'm pretty sure like I was going around and talking to people in like an Irish accent and then dropping back to Australian halfway through. Just to like,
no.
Like so bad, so head noisy.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I was being such a fuckwit. Because I was just like so like, bleh. So fucking, to be honest, pretty funny if I'm being honest. But it was just like, I just goldfished it pretty much. So then that happened. Then I finally found people and I was ecstatic. Anyway, genuine relief washed over me. Not enough to sober me up, but enough for, I was happy. Then we left, and when we were leaving, on the street, I tackled one of my mates, my team, into a bush, and we got back on the bus, and I was like, "Oh fuck, where's my phone?" And I knew exactly where it was. I was like, "No, it's definitely in that hedge." Anyway, went back home, went to the diggers, had a feed. It was only like 8:30 at this point, and I was thinking it's like 12 o'clock. So we got a feed. We're in there for a bit, but honestly, I was just like, I was out of it. Got very politely asked to leave the diggers. Fair enough. Left, went home.
Was it just you that got asked to leave?
Yeah. Got home, and just in absolute licorice the next morning for like the first hour and a half. Like,
Did you just go to bed at like 9?
No, it would have been like 12
Okay.
at this point. But like when I got next morning, woke up and just like shower, vomits, scat. And then I was like, fuck, I don't have my phone. I'm feeling not good. I didn't feel like head hangover, or it was just more like feel like I need to throw up. I need to eat something.
Yeah, sure.
And then it would still make me feel like I was about to throw up. And I was like, I have to go to the city because I got to find my iPhone up and I could see where the phone was and find my iPhone.
Exactly where you thought it was.
Exactly where I thought it was. And I was like, but the thought of having to go to the city to get it made me like feel more sick. And then I was like started driving and I felt crap. And I was like, I'm running out of time because I have to be at Marrickville Bolo. So I just went home. I was like, no. Just got changed, got ready, got kind of in the zone to do it. Had another quick tacky. And I was sweet. And I was sweet after that.
Wait, did you go to Randwick and then go back home?
No, went to Randwick, picked my phone up, then drove to Urco, just down the road here, and then got an Uber to Bolo. And then left my car here. And then after we went to the Bolo and then we went to Vic on the Park, a grand return. I went to Sash that night and I didn't get home till like 7:30. So then I didn't get up till like 2 o'clock and I was literally going, how the fuck am I going to get my car? Like, there's no way I'm getting the bus. Like, this is not, I don't think I can muster up the strength. And then my brother came in absolutely clutch, sorted me out.
He drove you.
Drove me to Jacksonville, yeah.
For what?
To get my car.
Just to be a good bloke?
Yeah, just to be a good bloke.
That's nice of him.
Yeah, that was...
Do you owe him anything for that? Is he going to like come back at you and be like...
No, I helped him with something afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
I got him back.
You've settled it.
I settled the debt.
Nice.
Settled the debt.
Okay,
But yeah,
nice.
it was turbulent. It was fucking turbulent.
That's a turbulent 24 hours.
Yeah.
Or 48 hours.
Yeah, it was just a lot happened.
That's a
But you know,
big old weekend.
that's why the long weekend remains undefeated. Because shit always happens like that. You just something rogue every time. Yeah.
Yeah, look. It was a good weekend. I had a good time. I didn't do much on Monday at all.
No.
I wasn't even too bad when I woke up. I was just like, I'm just
Neither.
wrecked.
Just
really
wrecked.
tired.
But then it doesn't help that I'm like, okay, get an early night. And I have been absolutely punishing Modern Family recently. It has been my favourite show to watch.
What happened last night?
Well, last night, similar thing. I was like, yep, go to bed. Just finish the episode that you're watching in bed.
You actually told me this at like 12:15 last night.
Yes.
I was like,
I was just about to start watching it when I was in bed.
I was like, I was like, are we doing the pod tomorrow at 10? You were like, yep. And then you replied at like 12 and I was like, go to bed. You are notorious for sleeping through alarms and not being here on time.
Yep. And
Respectfully.
no, that's
you are notorious for it.
I'm notorious. That's fair.
And
call.
I was like, why are you awake? Like, go to bed.
Yeah. I went, yep, no worries. I'm going to bed now.
And then 11 o'clock rolls around this morning. I've heard absolutely nothing.
Crickets.
So naturally, I've just assumed pod off. I'm getting a message from Xander at 11:30 going, oh, fuck. I was still asleep.
Instead, I rocked up at 11:30.
Yes, you were here. You knocked on the door.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, hey.
Yeah, so that was... Yeah, because last night I went, I'll watch one more episode, and then I ended up staying up to like 2, just after 2, watching Modern Family. It's so addictive. I can't stop. Like, I literally cannot stop. It's actually bad.
I'm going to start watching again. It's such a good show.
Oh, warning, disclaimer, warning for binging Modern Family. There's like 11 seasons, and they all have about 20 episodes.
I can't get addicted to shows, I don't think.
We shall see. And they're all like 20 minutes each.
Yeah,
so you
that's
just
true.
like, yeah, I'll watch an episode. And it's just like over in a second. You're like, oh, sorry, I'll watch another one. Dangerous.
The only show I finished in like the last 2 years, I think, is True Detective. And it's 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, and The Last Dance, which is like 8.
10.
10, sorry. Look at me go. 10 eps.
Yeah. Last Dance is fucking so beast.
I know.
The clips always come up on my phone. And it's going to sound kind of cringe, but like actually some of the scenes, like the bit where he's talking about, it's in like episode 5 where he's talking about him being like a competitor. It's at the very end of the episode, and they do like the montage of like them winning stuff, and he's like I did it. I'm doing it for the team, doing it for me. Like I want to win, blah blah blah. And then he starts getting like emotional, and he's like, "If you don't want to play that way, don't play." And he like tears up, and he's like, "Break," and he walks off. Even if I watch that now, I'm like, I got goosebumps talking about it. Like I reckon it's like so crazy, that bit. Like
It's an
Crazy.
awesome series. I don't know how they got why were they filming that in the 90s?
I'm not sure.
They couldn't have been filming for a Netflix show, obviously. In
Yeah,
the 90s. Like,
I'm
on
not,
what basis did that footage come about?
I'm not sure, but whoever thought of doing it, I'm very thankful for, because it's ended up being.
I wonder what the backstory is behind that.
I always think the funny bit is like when Jerry Seinfeld pops up for like 2 minutes in one of the episodes. Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
Is he in the sheds or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, that's not going to work. And he's like looking at the game plan, and then he gets told he has to leave. So good. That's like such a 90s moment, like MJ and Jerry Seinfeld standing next to each other.
Yeah, totally.
Like two global superstars.
The 90s has such a good aura about it.
Yeah. Like you got the biggest sports star in the world and the biggest entertainment star in the world.
Totally.
That's like a crazy duo of people. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That wigs me out.
Where are we at?
Where are we at? Oh, okay. I have a question, okay, of something. I don't know how this shit works, and I need someone to explain it to me, and I feel like you would know. How does Facebook and Insta mutuals work?
What
Like
do you
the
mean?
recommended ones, and like the ones that pop up for you.
Where do they pop up?
Like on your screen, like when you're scrolling, they might like pop up, or like it says like if you go to like requests or whatever, and it says like people you may know, and that kind of always changes. And sometimes they have like two mutuals, but they'll come up still.
I was going to say that I don't look at it very often, if ever. I don't even go on Facebook. But like, I feel like when I do look, it's always people that are like around me in my life. It's like people that I'm like new friends, for example.
Do you reckon it's like location based?
Yeah.
Or do you think it's it like senses when you're like near other people's phones?
Yeah, I reckon. Because I remember this was a really weird one, but it was like about a year ago, I walked past a kid from my primary school, like at Woolies, and he came up on my Facebook recommendations like a day later. And that was the first time I was like, maybe it's a location thing.
Because
Preface, that's a vibe thing.
yeah, I don't know.
That's a vibe thing and nothing. I've done no further research.
Because like I mean, they look at your phone obviously listens to you. Because like all the ads will pop up if you've been
you're
talking
talking
about
about
it. So like it obviously listens. So I don't think it's too far fetched to suggest like they base mutuals on like proximity.
Yep. My two at the moment are Brendan and Kirsty.
Always come up.
They came up in my one like yesterday or something.
Right.
And they're like people who I'm like good friends with.
Yeah.
And they're always around.
right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, it's so weird. And like, do you reckon it has anything to do with like you searching or people searching or like clicking on your profile existing? It's so like, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Because I don't really search or click on anyone's profiles or anything on Facebook.
You don't just have a little flick through.
Very rarely. Very, very rarely. I just don't really go on Facebook. I probably do it on Instagram a lot.
Instagram.
Instagram
Yeah.
I would, but not on Facebook.
No, not Facebook.
I can't even think whether mutuals would come up on Instagram. Where do they come up?
Yeah, they come up.
Is
It
that
says
like
like when if it comes up, it'll come up with the account. If you click on the person, it'll be like people you also
Okay.
follow.
I know what you're talking about. It's like when you follow someone new and then it would do a drop down and there's like 5 people there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to the Instagram ones. The Instagram ones never seem to be people that I know.
Yeah, right.
So that might be your question. Why are these people that I don't know
Yeah.
coming up?
I feel like Facebook's always more people you know, and Instagram's sometimes like random. Like it'll be someone's like, I don't know, cooking account or something.
Yeah, with like 2 mutuals. And you're
Yeah.
like, what?
Oh yeah. I don't know. It's wigs me out a bit.
I don't
If
know.
anyone knows how it works,
Reach out.
reach out, let us know. Because I've got no idea.
I've been playing in a 5-a-side comp on Monday nights.
Talk to me.
Pretty good side, pretty handy little team we got going.
Yeah.
We lost the first game just due to being low on numbers.
Yeah.
And then we won like 9 in a row or something. 8 in
Righto.
a row.
Yeah.
We beat the 2 top teams. We beat the best team, which, in turn makes us
you
the best team.
Yeah.
So we'd beaten the top 2 teams, but then last week we had like 3 players away, no subs, and we lost on the whistle to an own goal. So that was our second loss of the season. That second loss put us into third place somehow
Tough.
on goal difference. I don't know how. And, you know, we get a sort of dodgy email during the week about, you know, finals coming up or something. It didn't really explain much. Anyway, we rocked up the other night, played a team. We won like 10-1. And we went up to the guys at the end. We're like, oh, like we saw that email, like, when are the finals? And they were like, oh, they were tonight. And we were like, what do you mean? And they were like, the finals were tonight. And we were like, well, did we just play a final? Like, what happened? We just pumped a team. How was that a final? And they were like, oh, you might, like, only first and second played in the final. And we were like,
What?
So we lost 2 games all season, finished third, and just played like some shit team that finished 4th and pumped them 10-1.
That was it.
Yeah, and that's it. Season done. Comp over.
That mate, some of the 5-a-side comps are so annoying like that.
They're just so poorly organised.
Yeah, like they just take the cash. Like the one at Cromer, I like. It's a fun competition to play in, and it's like good for like social teams or if you want to make a good like a have a legitimate go, but you play like 9 games and you pay like $300.
It's insane.
And you know. And like at least one of them gets rained out, and then if you don't come first or second, it's like you just verse the team next to you. It's like, well, that's not fun. What's the point? At least in some futsal comps, they do like
they do proper finals.
Yeah, do proper
They
finals.
do gradings and finals.
And
It's
like
awesome.
in Eagle Tag, they do it.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
Touch, they do it. As
So
well. Yeah,
to the
I hate it.
5-a-side comp at Centennial Park.
Yeah,
Respectfully, will I sign up for the spring comp? Probably.
yeah,
But you know, we got to avenge what we didn't have.
yeah. I know. I'm locked in for the summer of social sport this year.
Well, we've got a Wednesday comp, as you know, that you're almost a part of, starting next Wednesday.
Yeah,
I believe.
I've got futsal starting on Thursday night, starting next
Who
Wednesday.
are you playing with?
Guys in the football team, but they're like ones I used to play with in a couple, like a division above. So it should be fun.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, should be good. I'm keen.
I love 6-a-side and futsal.
Yeah,
I'm so much better at it than I am at outdoor. I think.
just because
It
sweaty
just suits me better.
tech is
Just because I'm small, I think. So it's more like to scale. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
It's like I'm finally playing on the same size pitch as everyone else.
yeah, righto.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay.
Because I got little legs.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah,
It just
Like
seems
a-
to suit me better.
yeah, right.
'Cause
You
I'm
just
a
rip,
rat.
and
I'm
you
a rat.
like doing like sweaty skills and stuff as well. Yeah,
Just being in like tight.
agile.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like a mouse or something.
Like a rat.
Yeah,
It's often the rat.
Yeah.
That's what I get compared to.
yeah. I didn't want to just.
You can say it.
Yeah, I was gonna say rat.
can say
I was gonna
rat.
say rat originally.
Yeah, you can say rat.
Yeah.
I get it. High pressing goalkeepers in 5-a-side. Someone's got to do it.
Dog, you're a dog.
I did it. I scored a goal the other night. Just being such a fucking smart ass. Like, I'm always like lippy to the goalkeeper and stuff because they always use the goalkeeper heaps in futsal.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, he'll get nervous. Like, let him come up. He'll lose it. And like, sometimes it works. Sometimes it backfires. But last week, a guy was like running back towards his keeper and he'd just been passing it back all night. And he had the ball at his feet. And I was like, go, pass it back. Pass it back. Pass it back. And he tried to turn me. And I just tackled him.
Oh,
And scored.
very nice.
And I was like, ah. And
Did
then
you
he G'd up at his keeper. He's like, hey, you fucking up shit. I was like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
But just like, you know, scumbag 5-a-side. But, you know, someone's going to do it.
Right, that. This guy last night in Eagle Tag, he literally like made a break through the line. And then as he was breaking through the line, he went to pass to his winger, but his winger was like standing like 5-10 meters behind him because he just like thought he was going to get through anyway. And he's like, doesn't know that he hasn't been tagged. And he like turns around, stops running. And like I was fullback and I reckon he would have beat me to the corner. And I'm like going towards him. And he's like turning around, blowing up at the winger. And he's like, and the ref's like, and he finishes blowing him. He looks up and I'm there and I'm like just about to tag him. And the ref goes, play on. And he goes, oh, fuck. Because I think it was 10-all at this point.
Sure.
So like he could have like scored. They ended up winning by a try, but like he could have fucking like just wrapped the game up.
Yeah.
Just like very social like sport. I was
Yeah.
fucking loving it. It was so
yeah.
good.
Oh, it's the best. How good is it?
Yeah. Mate,
Summer undefeated.
summer always on.
Do you want to do that only point you missed or are you moving on? What are we at?
No,
40?
we'll move on.
Move on.
Move on. I literally have to go in 9 minutes. So
What time is it?
it's almost 1:30. Okay. We might just go back page now because I have to go to uni.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Of course, NRL Grand Final this weekend, as most of you will know. Panthers vs Eels, much talked about. Might I just say, Cody was right about the score. I was right about Clive Churchill.
Well, if you were to say it went exactly how I expected it to,
I wasn't far off. I was 4 points away.
it went exactly how I expected.
Exactly how you said.
So you
did-
actually came up and told me that, but I would never have watched that back and known. It's just that you told me, and I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Actually, my mum messaged me as well.
And said that you got
She
it
was
right.
like, you picked that on the podcast.
Yeah. And then I picked Dylan Edwards, Clive Churchill.
Dude, we should start a fucking punting show.
It's what we do.
We've
It's
literally
what we
gotten so much right this year.
It's literally what we
You
fucking...
picked the Dally M and the Clive Churchill.
Yep. Oh, imagine putting money... Oh, that's power of hindsight. But like, I'm pretty stoked with the fact that we got that done.
Yeah, we put no money in it, and my betting account is just reds for like the last 5 months.
Yeah,
just X's.
I was so close to winning. I got money back on one multi. I just needed Big Viliami kick out a score, and he literally got the ball smacked out of his hands as he was going over the line.
Oh, by Wonga Blake.
Yeah, and I was like, I was actually shocked. I was that rattled.
Didn't Sevo drop the ball over the line as well?
Yeah, he got
fucked
it
up a lot of
smacked out
people.
as well.
I think I was a Dylan Edwards try short of my multi. I haven't actually
Right.
checked.
I got money back though, but
I think I power played.
yeah, no,
Look, it's by the
no
way.
good. But great game nonetheless. Panthers dominant. They're just too good. Like I was saying to Cody, too fast, too strong, too smart, just outplayed.
Yeah, like jokes aside, I think, people were all kind of like, we were getting into the narrative last week. We were like, could Para do it? Could they do it? And now that the game's over, like you say, power of hindsight. But of course Penrith dominated. Of course they did.
Just like they
Para have had a tough run into the finals. Like they've had to play really tough footy every week.
Yeah.
And Penrith have 2 grand finals prior experience.
play like half their team.
Well
plays
rested
Origin.
players. Nathan Cleary played like 3 games in the last 2 months.
Yeah,
Like he was fresh.
rested. Like they were literally just clinical. Like they barely made an error the whole game.
It was 28-0 in the 76th minute.
Yeah,
Or 75th minute or something.
just too good. Like,
It was just
what can you
dominant.
say? They just dominant the whole game. Like their forwards just absolutely smashed them. Like I didn't see Para get like getting into like much
Rhythm.
or like getting into a point where they can take the game or take a play into their advantage. Even if they got a penalty into to get out of their half, they still didn't really get into the Panthers' 40 zone.
Penrith won everything. Their line speed was awesome. They won every
Yeah.
contact battle they had. They won. Para had that one really nice piece of play out at their own end, and it was real desperate footy when Reed kicked it across to to Simonson,
And
he made that break.
then who was there?
Deadwoods.
Yeah, there with that tackle. And they were saying it's a Scott Sattler replica. It's a replica in the way that he bundles him over the try line, but the Scott Sattler one is far better.
Yeah.
It's full length of the field.
And it's a lock forward chasing a winger.
Yeah, and he makes the tackle, and they would have won the game if they scored it. So kind of different, but
Aesthetically similar.
Similar. But I enjoyed watching the performance. I thought Luai was amazing, as per usual, as I always think.
As
But
you
I
always
thought
do.
he was just
To be honest,
crazy good.
To be honest, I watched maybe 15 minutes of that
I watched
game.
the whole thing.
I need to rewatch it.
I literally watched the whole thing. There was a brouhaha happening behind me at the bolo, and I just totally ignored it. Because I was just
I sat down with you for the last 10 because I was like, I've hardly watched any of this.
yeah. No, it was To'o as well.
Did you-
To'o this year, people have said has a quiet year, mate. He's a big game player. He came out and he absolutely killed these finals games. He's been sensational every game, and came out, scored 2 tries. almost man of the match. Ran
Did you
250
see?
meters.
He ran 290. It was 299. It was just under 300.
Hell.
He Did you see his first try when Gutho is sprinting across and tries to bundle him into touch and he just doesn't move?
He does nothing to him.
You're like, oh, Gutho, this will be close. Like Gutho,
He gets a good grab of him as well. And
he didn't move.
He just like, he doesn't, he's so strong. Like, I actually find it so crazy how strong he is. Like, and he, even last week against South, like, that try scores, he intercepts it and he bumps off like Cody Walker,
yeah.
who then falls into 3 other people.
Yeah. It's insane.
Like,
And he's like 5'10" or something.
And he did it again to make a break in that game as well. He bumped over someone and just like kept running through.
He's a freak. He's a freak. Someone at work who's like, who's like kind of like rugby league, but not as much as I, sort of asked me how Penrith is so good and like why no one else is doing it. And I was like, well, Penrith kind of have the blessing that they have one of the biggest catchment areas for their juniors in rugby league. And so do the Tigers.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's the, Phil Gould was there, obviously probably 10 years ago now, and he sort of put all those pathways into place.
They also have like a generational talent in their team. In Nathan Cleary.
But also like Toto.
And like Luai as well.
And,
like,
and Isaiah Yo.
top class
Like, it's
players.
just like,
yeah.
it's incredible. It's really, really, really incredible. And like, honestly, you are popular today, man.
Yeah, I know.
Xander's phone going off. Yeah, one of the most incredible teams, I think.
One of the most dominant teams we've seen in a long time.
If they win one more, if they win again next year, after who are they losing? Kickow and Appy.
Mate, they could win. Like injuries and stuff pending.
They could do it again. For sure they could.
Like, I know I said the Roosters could win this year, but honestly, like, I mean, the champs always should be the favourites, but I don't think there's a reason they couldn't go back and be at least make the top, like, be in the final, deep into the finals.
The only thing is, and I'm not saying this because he's coming to the Tigers, but like losing Appy Coruscant
is massive.
It's even bigger than losing Burton because of the position that he plays
in.
Like, this is the first time their spine has been interrupted in the past 5 years, I think. So,
but
4 years.
To say that though, Mitch Kenny does a great job, and also like him then playing more games is only going to make him better. And he's going to have to adapt, and it'll make him a better player.
Totally.
And then also there's the young guy who's like 19. Name's escaping me right now, but he played a couple games this year. And when he played, I think he scored 1 or 2 tries. No, number 9.
Okay, don't know.
But he was also like very good. So, like their teams, I don't think apart from Appy, and then they get Luke Gardner next year, who had an amazing season this year.
Garner,
yeah,
he had a solid season.
Like in a team
that was injured for a lot of it. He's a very solid player.
But like in a team that came last,
he's a great signing.
He was great. He chased down Turbo one game.
He outran him. He had the ball.
Oh, that's right. He outran Turbo. So, like,
dude, I love Luke Garner.
Yeah,
I'm super happy for him going to Penrith.
And on that left, if he just straight swap on that left edge, like, it's not a bad replacement.
No,
he's quick. Like kick out.
He's quick.
He's quick. Center. He's strong. Like, he's not saying that. He isn't kick out because kick out's
kick out.
Like, he's an absolute X factor player. But I mean, there's plenty to like about what their team looks like.
And I think, is he the only one going? It's hard. Who have they got to upgrade? I think Toto's still only on like 350K.
Yeah, he's getting a new contract. But like, they know what they've got there at that club, and that's what a lot of the players they've been saying. Like, they know what they have, and so they've want to. Although like they got to look after their own interests, like they still got to work. They want to work for the betterment.
Well, it's interesting because someone like Appy, he's like at the end of his career. He's now won 3 comps, but at the time of signing, he'd already won 2 comps. One with Penrith.
Yeah,
it's like he kind of has to put his family first.
Yeah,
and his own.
Well, he's achieved a lot
because he's 31 or whatever. He's 30, 31, 30. But someone like Toto, for example, he's like, dude. I remember when Tedesco signed for the Raiders all those years ago. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he almost went to the Raiders.
He signed for the Raiders and he backflipped. But something that Robbie Farah said that kept him at the club at the time was like, and at the time the Tigers kind of did have something, right? Robbie was like, there's something happening here. Stay, the money will come.
Yeah.
You know? And like, I feel like for a lot of these young guys at Penrith, Toto could stay there for another 4 years and then sign a big contract at 26. Do you know what I mean? Or 27.
He could win. He could win another comp in that time.
He could win a few more. Dare I
Yeah.
say? He could win a couple more. Who knows?
The only thing I think that will be a bit of a threat for Penrith keeping players is the Bulldogs, because they have an absolute.
How do they still have money?
So they've only got 8 players that are going to be that are at the moment contracted for 2024.
But aren't all of them on like 700K?
No. A lot of them are just like they've upgraded a lot of like train and trial
Players.
players in the last year.
But Burton, Fox, Marnie, and Kickow would all be on big dollars. But not Burton, but the other 3 would. Fox, Kickow, and Marnie, wouldn't they?
I think they'd probably all be on like 600. I don't think they would be on much more than that.
I wonder how the Dogs got Marnie. Do you think it was Phil Gould? Because, do you know what I mean? Like, it seemed like a weird time for Marnie to leave Para, because Para...
Well, Para can't. The thing with Para, they got a lot of money locked into some big players. Like Gutho is on a fair bit of cash. Moses on cash.
Yeah, you're right.
Like a lot of their forwards are pretty well paid.
Fuck,
You know-
I'd love to just see everyone's salaries.
Yeah.
I'd love to just know what everyone's on.
So like that's the thing. Like Para now, they've got to try and figure out how they're going to keep Moses and Brown and Gut. Like they've got a lot of decisions to make to keep that team together. Because like if they lose Moses, they are not a top 4 team anymore.
I think next year will be a real test for Para. Like, losing Marnie is huge, but Papali'i has also been one of their better players this year,
Yeah. Or last 2 years.
last 2 years.
Yeah.
And he's gone as well. So,
And like if the Storm start circling for a player like Dylan Brown, like I saw someone saying that they could, like rumored, so I don't know whether it's true, but like, you know,
we're just, we're catastrophizing here, but it's a possibility.
possibility, like the Storm when Munster leaves, if he does, well, like if he doesn't leave, the Dolphins will have that money to spend, so maybe the Dolphins come in. But I'm saying, like, if Munster leaves, the Storm are going to want someone of quality to replace him.
Dylan Brown is going to be in high demand, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they've got a lot of players in key positions, a lot of quality players in key positions that in other clubs they don't have those players, and if they acquired them, it would make them better immediately. Like a team like, I don't know, like pick any team, like just for the Knights example, like imagine the Knights somehow get their mitts on Mitchell Moses, like their team instantly would become better, you know, or Dylan Brown, their team's better straight away.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Tigers are circling Moses as well.
Yeah.
So it's like there's going to be, like, let's say you're in Dylan Brown's position. He's going to be like, okay, well, I can stay at the Eels for 600. I can go to the Dolphins for 800, or I can go down and play with Jerome Hughes under Craig Bellamy for 500. So it's like,
and win a title.
and win a comp probably. So it's like he's got a decision to make.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the Eels.
I think the Eels are going to have got to, like, that's their window done. Like, that
think
was
so.
it.
I agree.
I don't think they can, they might get in the 8 next year, but I don't think they'll make the grand final.
I think Reid Marnie was holding that window open. I think he was.
Yeah.
All by his lonesome.
Yeah, I didn't think he played super well this year compared to last year.
No, I agree. Last year was his better season. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
A good hooker's hard to come by.
I think next year the Eels will be in trouble a little bit.
We'll circle back to that in our 2023 preseason.
Yeah, we'll come back to it. We'll just hit some EPL real quick. Haaland. Okay, Man City derby, up 4-0 at halftime. Game ended 6-3. Haaland hat-trick, Phil Foden hat-trick. Haaland takes 8 games to score 3 hat-tricks, the quickest in Premier League records, which is fucking insane considering the next best is 50 games. So, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
My God.
So he's scored 14 goals now in 8 games.
I also saw
It's like,
he's 9 goals away from last season's Golden Boot, and there's 30 games remaining.
it's silly. And the thing that also is crazy is, like, this year, obviously, there's the World Cup and it's in the middle of the year, middle of the EPL season. So it'll be in November. And then in December, when the season resumes, Haaland isn't going to the World Cup with Norway. He's not going.
Well,
So
Norway aren't going.
Well, Norway aren't going. So he's going to be fresh. He's going to come out, have like a bit of time off, be fit, be fresh, when a lot of the other big teams and teams in general are going to have a ton of players out. So, look, it's going to... He's the dominance he's already showing. Like, he's like player, he just can't be marked. Like, in that team, there's like so much going on already, and then you throw in him, and he's just unstoppable. Like, he's just popping up everywhere. Like, you literally, all these goals, he just appears. That he just appear at the back stick, or he'll just appear in between a defender. And then if he goes and does it himself, he literally is like pushing off 2 players at one time and then still scoring a goal.
Well, even that goal that he scored on the weekend, you know, the one where De Bruyne kind of whipped it between the centre-backs? It's like, that was a great ball. But, like, the average striker doesn't get to that.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he would have lost vision behind the defender, and then he still just had the instinct to slide out because he's so athletic and long. And to perfectly make contact with the ball, it shoots into the net. It's not like he just got it.
Yeah.
He, you know.
I feel they're like...
Well, how do you feel about it as like a United fan? Because, you know, I'm obviously like a very like unbiased fan of the Premier League, and the fact that Haaland is here is so exciting. It's like, it's something, you know, that we haven't really seen probably to this extent since Suarez was at Liverpool. And even still, Haaland is like, he could potentially blow that season out of the water in terms of goals.
He's just...
So how do you feel about it from like a Man United perspective? Are you still like, wow, this is good to watch? Or is it kind of like frustrating in a way?
Well, it's frustrating because you want to be higher up on the ladder, and you can't do that like when you have a superstar. Well, it's hard when you have superstars like Haaland on that team. Like, they just seem... Every year, the difference between City and United pretty much mainly is the fact that City have had one manager this whole time. United have had about 5. Okay? Every time new manager comes in, they either sign the wrong players or they sign like the players that the owners want to sign, who are like commercial players, you know? And now that's kind of changed. They're like, okay, we fucked up. We have to commit to the vision of the manager and not the greater club's vision. When City haven't done that, they've picked one of the best managers ever and gone, yep, we'll back you. And just like let him pick and choose players and then brought them in. And that's why every time they buy a player, it's always a good signing because they're picking the right player every time.
For the system.
Or almost every time.
That's a good point.
There's been a couple that haven't worked out, and they just like they go and they just sell them again. And they're like, yep, that's fine. But like people like Rodri, Cancelo, Gundogan, like Bernardo Silva, like all these guys, like superstars, like Mahrez, you know, Haaland, De
Bruyne was a freak, but his career went to a new level at City.
Yeah, you know, they signed Laporte, like Diaz. Like you would have never heard of Diaz.
Their whole team is signed.
You would have never heard of Diaz before he came to the City, and he's a fucking freak.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah,
you know, and then they even like have crafted some great players who are now off. Like they got Shevchenko, who's now at Arsenal, and he's playing really well. So they've just picked the right players every time, whereas United, like, they haven't really. Or they pick players that have showed promise, or they're not used them right. Like, good examples like Martial, who is actually a good player and at times, like, has had really good runs of form. But then, you know, he might get injured or they use him in the wrong... Like, they use him as a winger. He's never really been a winger. He should be a striker the whole time. But they always seem to get it wrong. Or, like, a best example for United is, like, Pogba. You got someone who's, like, such a quality player, and the whole time he just needed someone to be that defensive player for him, and they never got it. They have it now. They've got Casemiro now, but they needed that 3 years ago.
Yeah,
you know. So that's probably where it's at. So it's going to take time for any team to catch City, because they're sitting second right now, but they still haven't lost a game. They've just drawn a couple games.
I reckon they could sell their whole team, bar De Bruyne and Haaland, and just start from the ground up and still be top.
Mate,
that's how good those two
they
are.
are insanely good.
It's insane.
They're insanely good. And they seem to be complimenting each other immediately, which is like,
Scary.
think about how long it takes to build chemistry between players and like build that kind of instinct where these two have been like, they're like
Well,
that
even
straight away.
Haaland and Foden, they're just assisting each other on the weekend.
Yeah. Like crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Good to watch.
Great to watch.
Really
I mean,
good to watch.
you just got to appreciate things like that when it happens though, because it's pretty freaky what we're seeing right now with him in the Prem.
He'd only need to do this for one season. He'd go down as a legend.
Yeah. And the funny thing is there's actually some other players playing really well and like scoring at almost a goal a game rate, which usually you'd be like, wow, that's really impressive stuff. Like that's good. Like Harry Kane's played 7 games, he scored 7 goals. But yet Haaland scored double that in that time, and it's kind of like overshadowed.
Totally.
So
It's got a big shadow too, Erling Haaland.
but that's all I'll say on it, because I feel like that's otherwise it'll get too dribbly.
Any cricket? Windies tonight?
Windy tonight, I'll probably give it a watch.
Say you'll give that a watch?
If I'm being honest, I'll probably give it a little fucking give it a watch. That's
Flick
in
it on.
Gold Coast tonight. Mitchell Stark and Mitch Marsh coming in. Oh, pardon me. This is like the last chance for some players to show their value before the World Cup kicks off in like 2 weeks. So keen for that.
Cool.
Yeah.
We done here?
We're done here.
All right, song this week, Rio by Lowcut Connie.
Your beauty.
Little Shazam, that one from work. Shout
Yeah.
out to the work playlist.
Thank you.
That's all.
That's all. We'll see you guys later. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed your long weekend. And we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.